Welcome, y'all, to another episode of Love and Black with Tory and Teri. I'm Teri, and this is my husband, Tory, and we're glad you're here with us. This is where we keep your love in the positive. Hey, honey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, guys, welcome back to another episode here. We got a special guest for you tonight. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just open us up in prayer.
I was just going to ask you to do that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, hey, dear Heavenly Father, in the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Lord, we thank you for this day, this opportunity, this evening to be able to come to your people, oh Lord, and talk about love and relationships. So we're going to answer some questions, and we just pray that you be with us on this evening, oh Lord. So we love you. We thank you. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right.
So, thank you for that. Tonight's show is packed, y'all. Ooh. We have a good word tonight, okay? We have a good word from my husband and our guest. But let me tell you about our guest. He's a legendary concert promoter out of California. Here's the cool thing. He's also a relationship champion. So this man has wisdom that, like they say, that surpasses all understanding of the dynamics of men and women as it relates to relationship challenges. So we're going to hear from him. And I've known him for a long time, many years. He's from California, and he always has a good word. He really has a good word. So stay with us. I promise you, this will not disappoint you. What's happening with you? Are you excited? What are you doing?
No, it's cool because it's funny, guys. I'm on the other side of this now, and
it feels a little weird, huh?
yeah, it does, but it's cool.
It's a little weird for me too, but it's a nice switch.
It is. So hey, that's why we're Love and Black with Tory and Teri. So both our names on the billboard, so we can both switch it up and do what we need to do. For those of you that watched the show last week, you noticed I was the only one on there. Well, my wife received an award that same the evening, so I had to hold down the fort, and just wanted to again in front of everyone here just congratulate her again on receiving the Deborah Arising Award down here in Houston.
That was definitely an honor.
Yeah, not just an honor, but there's some
very
residual things that have come out of that. So we are very happy, and that's another reason why we start out in prayer today, because we just wanted to just thank God, in advance, just like at the awards, right? I want to give honor to
honor to God, pastor and first lady,
all that stuff. So anyway,
no, seriously, on a serious note, very, very grateful, and even just the event itself really changed a lot for us. We just felt the atmosphere was just a wonderful place to be. And it was life-changing. Yeah.
So that was all good. So we're going to go to commercial, then we're going to be right back with our special guests.
So go away.
Hey, and we're back. Hey, thanks for staying with us. Our guest tonight is a mogul who has sown into many great entertainers. As you see his name on the screen there, I put event promoter or entertainment promoter, but I'm sure he's more than that. But anyway, he's a legend in the Oakland Bay Area, and founder of the Bay Area Productions, which was back in 1984. So man, just as long as I've been out of high school. Anyway, it's an independent Black-owned concert production special events company that's again based out of Oakland, specializing in presenting top quality live entertainment to the urban markets. Please welcome Mr. Bay Area Production himself, the legendary Mr. Lionel B. What's up, man?
Yay!
Tory, Teri, how are you today?
We're good.
Welcome, we're good. Welcome to Houston by stream.
No, right?
From our house to
I'm
yours.
sure you're used to that by now, though.
So glad to have you. I missed you, man. I was been trying to get with you since last year. It's taken me a year, but we did it, y'all. We got Mr. Lionel B with us tonight. So glad to have you with us.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Okay, so I have this thing, and it's called Rapid Fire. It's a little icebreaker for our viewers, but also for us too, and it gives people a peek into who you are and what you like, what you're about. You want to play it? You ready?
Yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
It's going to be kind of this thing, and I give you either or, and you just pick one. Okay?
All right.
Here we go. Apple or Android?
Say it again.
Apple or Android?
Android.
Okay.
What?
Mary J. or Jasmine Sullivan?
Mary J.
Okay. Southern Cafe Soul Food or Everett and Jones Barbecue?
Are you gonna get me in trouble?
Everybody does that. I do that here in Houston. People are like, stop.
You're gonna get me in trouble. I mean, I love them both.
I know.
But
I did not put Mama Chicken and Waffles on there on purpose because I didn't want it to be a problem.
so I have to say Southern Cafe Soul Food just because they have a more variety of items to choose from.
Okay, listen up.
Man,
Listen
I love
up,
their
Everett and
oxtails.
Jones.
I love their oxtails.
Okay, you guys, it's a rapid fire. Okay, and he does this all the time, so let's just kind of put him over here in the soundproof booth. He's in the soundproof booth. Okay, here we go. Silks or ivy?
Neither. I wasn't a nightclub person, but if I had to do it all over,
Choose one. Let's pulling it up. Okay, which one? You got-
silk.
Okay.
It would be silks.
Okay. Too short or 40?
Now, listen, you're gonna get in trouble again. But I mean, it's obvious that I have to side with Too Short because I was his tour manager for years. So, but I love E40 as well.
I know. Okay. Yoshi's or Kimball's East?
Kimball's East.
Ooh, okay. Oakland Raiders or Vegas Raiders?
I mean, that's obvious. The Oakland Raiders.
NBA All-Star or Super Bowl? And you know what I mean by that because we were at All-Star together. You know what I mean. Which one?
Well, I've been to both. If you want to party, you go to All-Star.
Yeah.
If you want to chill, you go to Super Bowl. So I'm going to say NBA All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, it's always the best. All right, here we go. Ready? Drum roll. To see Maze and Frankie Beverly, would you pick Berkeley Greek Theater or the Concord Pavilion?
Well, you really going to get me in business trouble now.
I have my personal favorite, and I'll share it with you once you answer.
Wow.
I know.
Because I think I first saw Frankie at the Greek, but I promote him at the Concord Pavilion.
Can we just agree that the Greek Theater, Frankie Beverly with the sun going down?
Right. Yeah, so I have to go with my first memory, even though I do promote him at Concord Pavilion, but my first memory was seeing him at the Greek, and I was sitting on the lawn, and the sun was going down. It's a beautiful view. So, so just for viewing purposes one time, I'll choose the Greek for that one.
Perfect for Look at California. Okay, thank you so much. You were so good, and thank you for.
Man, y'all shut me out with all this Bay Area stuff.
But you know
I need some East Coast references here.
But you know what? That's
crab cakes.
There's so many things that there's so much that has to do with the pop culture of the Bay Area. Wonderful, wonderful trivia. And some places are closed down, but it just goes to show you the richness of the Bay Area.
Yeah. Hey, Lionel, we mentioned a couple things that you've done, but give our viewers a quick snapshot of who you are and what you do and how you do it.
So I am Lionel B from Bay Area Productions in Oakland, and I've been I'm a concert promoter. I've been an artist manager as well, but I've promoted concerts since 1984, June 15th, 1984. My first concert was Run DMC. And with the Egyptian Lover and Uncle Jam's Army, that was my first show. And so over the years, we've developed the company into a prominent Black concert production company, specialized in urban music. So we've worked with everyone from Stevie Wonder to Ice Cube. So
Yeah.
I've worked with Janet Jackson on shows. I've worked with, not her personally, but I promoted Janet Jackson, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Ray Charles, B.B. King, Ice Cube.
All the greats.
Alicia Keys, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Maxwell, D'Angelo, Mary J. On and on.
Create a new playlist tonight.
Right?
Yeah. But let me say this too. You know, I just helped form a company called the Black Promoters Collective, and you know, I'm the Black promoter in the Northern California. We partnered up with 6 other Black promoters from around the country, so we've all come together. It's called the Black Promoters Collective. And, our CEO is right there in Houston with you, Gary Guidry.
Okay.
You know, so Black promoters trying to come together because Black people always enjoy music, right? But Black people don't always get to be on the business side of the music. Systematically, we are eliminated from that, and so I think it's important that that we be on the business side, and so you know, we're bidding on some major tours, and you know, trying to make it happen.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear it, and glad. You know, I mean, we're about everything Black also, but you know, what we really like is the fact that you guys are able to collaborate and do this, and you know, create some unity and harmony within our culture, man. So kudos you
that
guys.
Speaks to future musicians too, and artists that see that, because that's what we need to show them more of. You know, there's been so much division over the years, and I think that
but you know, Black artists have to cooperate too.
Yeah,
they have to want to work with Black business people, and I just think that when Blacks see other Blacks, there's a mistrust that has been sown into our
Willie Lynch syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this: what's the difference between working with the artists back in, you know, all those ones that you were just mentioning, you know, back in our day, and then working with the newer artists of now?
It's so different.
I think that the older artists, they learned how to be more professional, I think. You know, the Motown artists had to go to basically a school, you know,
school, all of that,
university, how to dance, how to sing, how to conduct yourself, how to dress, how to behave in public, how to do interviews.
I was going to say they appreciate the guidance more so than nowadays. It's just so, you know what I mean? Because who was it that was saying?
Me personally, I think his vision back then, you know, they weren't in it for the money, but now it's more like they're in it for the money versus, you know, hey, I just want to sing. They were
real artists, that had a calling on their life, and there was a lot of they were musicians, so there was instruments involved. They were coming in large numbers for the whole group, and of course, everybody has their level of being starstruck and, you know, kind of feeling themselves with their ego. But nowadays, it is so different in the sense that it's just changed. It's just changed over the years, and it almost kind of reminds me of when you think of like back in the day of how now, like at one point you had those that were ballers that were musicians or artists, and now you have those. They're drug addicts. A lot of them are. You know what I mean? It's like change. It's
weird. A lot of them for real.
It affects their behavior.
Yeah, a lot of them for real though are college educated, but they put on that persona that they were drug dealers and things like that.
Well, let me give you two differences. So I don't blame the artists of today, because the artists of today don't have that large record company that would teach them the business on how to behave. You know, the artists today haven't been groomed. So the record labels are almost non-existent. And so artists have to do everything themselves. So they have to shoot their own album covers, record their albums, promote it. And then once it sells, then a record label might pick them up. I mean, because the big labels are still around, but they're just they're just very choosy about who they get in business with. So that's one thing. But today's artists are much more savvy about the business part of it.
Yeah.
They own their own publishing, which that means they own their own songs. And they're just much up on collecting their money and getting their fair share.
I think they have more.
Back in the day, you didn't have much of a choice.
Exactly. I think the artists of the day have more access to these things, and especially, they've fallen behind Prince and Michael Jackson. That artists that kept their their rights to their music, their publishing rights and all. And
Prince fight for his for sure. But a guy that owned his own publishing was Rick James as well.
okay.
Yes. And then I know that there was a big lawsuit at some point later in the last century, and a lot of artists from the 60s and 70s were able to get their royalties and get their ownership of their music back. So, and some of the laws have changed and everything. So,
yeah,
interesting.
Very.
So let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. How did you learn the business? Like, was this always a career choice for you? You knew out of high school, this is what I'm going to do? Or was it like, oh no, I wanted to be something else. I wanted to be a chemist or something. How did you stumble into this business or even arrive at?
Well, I always loved music. When I was a little kid, my mom would take me to the record store, T.Y. Uzi Records in East Oakland, or the House of Music.
House of Music, yeah.
And then later on, T.Y. Uzi Records. But so I always loved music, and when I was about 14 or 15, when I was in middle school, I used to MC the dances and everything, and I always wanted to be a radio DJ. So my uncle allowed me to work in his nightclub as a DJ on Friday and Saturday nights. So I dress up like an adult as a 15-year-old, and I would actually work in a nightclub and as a DJ, and it was fun. It made me grow up pretty fast. I saw things that no 15-year-old child should ever see. My son is 15 right now. I would never let him see the things that I saw.
Yeah.
And but it was a great experience for me. So that was my launching pad for getting into business.
So what would you say has been your greatest reward being in the entertainment business?
Just not having to work for someone else. I don't think my personality is that of someone that could work a 9-to-5 and have someone else dictate your future.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have stressed me out. And
I think that's why we're entrepreneurs ourselves.
Yeah.
Just not one to conform to the whole corporate thing. I understand.
Exactly.
Let me ask you this. Was there ever a time that came about where you thought about just walking away? And there was a turning moment that it's like, okay, this is my aha moment of being in this industry.
I'm gonna tell you something. Most people have that story, which is funny. About there was a time they just wanted to give up. A few years ago, I got a little depressed about the business because as a Black promoter, if let's say if an artist wants $100,000, if a rock and roll promoter, which are basically white guys, if they wanted to offer that Black artist $100,000, sometimes that artist would pick the rock promoter because they might promote Madonna or Bruce Springsteen or whatever. It's something in our psyche that we're really screwed up as a people, right? Yeah. And so basically the rock promoter gets to promote all the white shows and the rock shows in the country and all that. And then they get a lot of the Black shows, which leaves people like me, just a small number of groups to promote. So I really got down and I was really thinking about quitting. And there's a guy out there and I hope he sees this interview. His name is Sam Watson. And Sam works with Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather and all those guys. And they had a fight in Oakland, and Andre Ward was fighting the Oakland's world middleweight champion. And Sam and I set out in front of the hotel one day in the plaza, and we talked for like 2 hours. And he talked me off the ledge. So yeah, there was a time that I was really thinking about quitting. But because I feel like I have skills to do other things as well. But Sam really, he probably doesn't even know this. And so I would say to everyone out there, be nice to people because you never know
Exactly.
what you say that day, how that could change someone's life.
Yeah.
So shout out to Sam.
No, scripture say
That's
you never
rich.
know you may be entertaining angels. So
Exactly.
yeah. So and somebody talked you off the ledge. That was definitely your guardian angel interceding at that point.
Yes.
So this is cool, man.
I love that.
But do you have any favorite artists you like to work with?
What's funny is I always joke with friends and say, be careful about meeting your heroes because you might not like them.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, there's some just down to earth, nice people in the business. Like someone who's just really, really nice. People like Cedric the Entertainer, Sinbad, just really nice. Patti LaBelle was really nice.
Oh, yeah, she definitely.
Yeah. Frankie Beverly is a really nice guy. So is Charlie Wilson. So I hope I didn't leave anyone out. I mean, there are a lot of, but there are people that you don't like or that rub you the wrong way or arrogant or whatever. But for the most part, as being a promoter, if you're paying people, they're going to be nice to you. So I don't run into that often. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: who was the most challenging artist that you've worked with?
Challenging. I would have to say Rick James was challenging.
What was it about that?
Times.
Was it prior to drugs? I mean, because of course everybody's a challenge when they, when they're, under the influence.
When you say prior to drugs, when was that?
Oh, okay. My bad.
No,
I mean, before it really came out as, really bad.
I don't know him. I mean, I met him briefly. But
I knew some people that knew him back in Pittsburgh, and
Mm-hmm.
so I heard the stories even before he became, Rick James, how he was too. So nothing's pretty much
surprising.
Yeah,
well, I'm not demeaning him. It's just
we love it.
When you say challenging,
I mean, like prima donna. I mean, was there these
like coming up 3 hours late for a show?
Or I want to make sure I have blue Kool-Aid in my room.
Like if you're doing a funk festival and you got 6 acts on the show, and you're supposed to have a 30-minute sound check, they take 1 hour and 15 minutes. Not caring about what the effect might be on other artists. So like that, yeah. But I was the biggest Rick James fan. I just wish that I had never met him because I had it way up here, and that's the expectation was too high, and that was my fault, not his. He is who he is, but and there's certain artists that when you meet people and you would hope that they were nice or whatever, but you get a few that weren't. So Rick was just more. The few times I promoted his shows, he was just more of just I wish that his life was together because he's so talented.
He was
and so smart.
Shout out to Rick James.
Yeah.
Kind of remind you of Prince and all of that. Man can sing, play multiple instruments, and it was an entertainer all in one.
Right.
Yeah. So, and again, man.
Sometimes people's talent is too much even for them. And what that draws and what that how that blows up and just becomes so famous and all. I mean, if you're not ready for it and if you don't really know how to deal with it, it can be a lot to handle. We've heard that.
To that point, I have a good friend of mine. He passed away some years ago, but he was my best friend, and he was a music historian. And we were talking one day about how there's no book to prepare you for all of this fame and glory and money and everything. because you've seen a lot of people fall, and he looked at me and said, no, there is a book. It's called the Bible.
Yeah.
And that got me like, wow, you're right. Yeah, it can prepare you for that. But this business will eat you up because there's music, drugs, rock and roll, but there's the women. If you're a square dude and never had a woman before, and all of a sudden now you're in the music business and they're flocking all over you, how do you? Some people don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's a great segue into relations. And you and I were talking the other night, and you were telling me about different aspects of relationships and things that you've encountered out on the road and all. And would you consider yourself a relationship guru based on what we were talking about?
No. So here's the running joke, right?
Wisdom.
I've had people tell me that I'm a little wise and I'm older, I'm an old man or whatever, and just in how I might conduct myself. But people come to me for advice or whatever. And so I have a lot of single female friends,
Okay.
And some of them have come for advice or whatever, or have asked me what did I think. Because, being in the music business, you travel around, you see everything.
Yeah.
It gives you a different education if you just work a 9 to 5. When you can learn a lot of what people will and won't do in life in the music business, backstage and at the meet and greet and at the after party and, and on and on and on. And so, I call myself a cultural observer, a Black cultural observationist.
Okay.
And so I've been able to observe a lot of things. So as far as being an expert or whatever, I don't know if that's the proper word, but I definitely have observed things. I have an opinion about it. And, there are people who value my advice. And so I've been able to help some people.
Hey, what about men? Just the same? Do men ask you too? I mean, have you found yourself that you've helped some brothers, when it came to the relationship advice, just talking?
Well, men don't usually ask for advice, but men will talk about their issues. And Teri could probably attest to this. And maybe with the intention of getting some feedback. But, I wouldn't call Teri up and go, hey, man,
Tory, you're getting us mixed up. You've been knowing me forever, Tory.
But I might, I might, like if I call Tory up, I might say, hey, man, let me tell you what happened to me today. Knowing that he's going to give me feedback. So men operate.
There's a way. Yeah, there's a way. Yeah.
Yeah. Women want to know. They'll ask you specific questions. And
I got 110 questions here for you.
We got some questions for you tonight. That's what I'm saying. Let's get started.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Here we go. So I pulled some, and I wanted to do both of you. So, honey, will you help? You and I do this? Okay. So I pulled a couple, and we get letters every day. And so I was like, okay, let me pull some that I think would be helpful because, and also some that speak to kind of the same type of thing. Mm-hmm. So there may be some similarities here, but that just goes to show you how these dilemmas are not just isolated. Okay. Okay, here we go. Bernadette out of Maryland. Let me put my glasses on. I hear better. Okay, let's see. Bernadette out of Maryland. My man has a habit of being a flirt when we are out. He's always the life of the party, and when I express discomfort in his behavior with females when we're out, he says I'm being too sensitive and makes it about me, never addressing his behavior that at times can be disrespectful. What should I do?
What type of behaviors is he exhibiting?
I mean, she would have to be more specific. But
he said he has a habit of being a flirt when they're out.
And so I would ask her, does she think he has the intention of, is he flirting with the intention of doing something or taking it further? Or is he just flirting to be social, to maybe boost his self-esteem a little bit? I think that men and women have to give each other a little room, So just imagine in what I do for a living, I'm in the concert business. So it's 12,000 people at a show. Afterwards, the meet and greet might have 50 or 100 people there. I know women from all over the country, friends, people. I was on the NWA tour in '89. I still have friends from that tour.
Wow.
And if I go to a city, I might call them up and invite them to a show. So if you're dating someone or if you're married to someone, they can't be jealous of that relationship. And at the same time, I've been told that men need to try to make their women secure as much as possible. But depending on the type of guy that you date, you have to you can't be so thin-skinned. And the thing that I would say is that no woman wants a man nobody else wants.
Well, yeah, I mean, she said never addressing his behavior, so putting it on her. What would you say about that, where he puts it on her, never addressing the behavior that at times can be disrespectful?
Well, he should be, he should be conscious, but the definition of disrespectful, we'd have to be get more specifics.
Yeah. So, what I would do, what's the name, Bernadette?
I think flirting is disrespectful.
Bernadette, what I would suggest is, you create some boundaries around when you guys go out. So, he'll know what to expect or what not to expect from you. And as far as, there's a couple things. One, what is considered flirtatious? So men and women, we probably have two definitions of it, one each. So what's the definition of flirtations, especially if he's the life of the party, which means that he's used to, hobnob, smoozing with different types of people, men or women. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's flirting. He's just the life of the party.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, in my business, I've seen women be very insecure over the most innocent things. I'm not saying that's the case in this situation, but...
And that could be. There could also just simply be, there's a way to conduct yourself when you're out with your woman. And, if you're life of party and that's, if you're out, that's just you. But I think that there should be, like my husband said, the boundaries when you're out with your woman when it comes to respect. Because I think that men are so good for dishing it, but they can't take it. And if the shoe was on the other foot, don't know how well he would be able to maintain. And even when it came to having the discussion afterwards, I think it's about just respect overall for one another. I suggest to Bernadette, you're watching, you made a big point here, and that was my man. He's not your husband. And that might be something to rethink if he just continues to put it on you and not hear you. I don't think you're being heard, and I think that's why you're bringing your question here, because you don't feel heard.
Yeah.
And I can't compare every guy to how I think, because I don't believe in cheating or whatever. So when I my intentions might be different. So we don't have enough information to know from her what exactly is going on.
I think we've given her enough advice for her to put it all together.
Yeah, kind of navigate from there. Yeah. Okay, next one. Colette out of Charlotte, North Carolina. My husband and I have been together 6 years and we have hit a wall. We are unable to communicate about anything related to us. We can manage everything else outside of us. Whenever we try, it becomes a war zone. I genuinely want the best for us. However, his lack of leadership in even acknowledging that we are in trouble and showing concern for wanting to fix it makes me question why he stays.
Counseling.
There you go.
Determining what's your why then. I mean, that last part of that sentence, what did you say, why he stays? Makes me question why he stays. I mean, what's your why? What's his why?
Well, she said, I genuinely want the best for us. So
yeah, that's not a why.
I think she's looking for him because she said, I genuinely want the best for us. However, his lack of leadership and even acknowledging that we're in trouble. So they've hit a wall. They're unable to communicate about anything relating to them. They say they manage everything else smoothly outside of them.
Well, you may not think that's an issue. They are a problem.
But she also gave away her power and by saying why he stays. Like she should determine why she's still in the relationship. She should determine what she wants. She should determine in her mind what she thinks they need. And so it's sort of like saying, well, if you don't like it, then why are you still here?
I totally agree 100%.
Don't give away your power like that.
Yeah, and you know what? Because it's marriage, I don't know what her ideals are when it comes to this being marriage, and that was why I differentiated that with dating. Because I think dating, you're just not as tolerant. You know, there's a major zero tolerance. But with this here, with the leadership, I think that's her trying to give the respect to the man as the head, and she's saying that it's in a war zone. So if she's aware of it, he's aware of it because they're at war. So for her to say, "Hey," he won't even acknowledge that we're at war. I'm acknowledging that we are, but he won't, acknowledge that we are in trouble and show some concern for it. So, wanting to fix it. I mean, wanting to fix it if he wants to. So sometimes, you never know with people, Colette. Sometimes if it's not stated, there could be people that are used to some people. I mean, some people are used to drama and living in that. Some people are not comfortable in harmony because they've never seen it and they don't know how to navigate in it. And then there's other times that it just becomes a thing where people let things just crash and burn because that way they don't have to really take a full responsibility for it. It just lets it just kind of happen. So
most of us don't fix our own cars. We take them to a mechanic. So they should go to counseling.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much.
A good point.
And that gives us a plug because of I Forever Will, and that is what we're
Right.
doing. Okay, next one, you guys. How do you know when your mate is your soulmate? That's Monique out of Dallas, Texas. Hey, Monique.
How do you know when your mate is your soulmate?
Yeah.
So I've been doing like this informal survey over the last year, I would imagine, and I've just been noticing that every couple that we counsel, the guy, even if he's had 100 girlfriends in the past or whatnot, it's something about when he meets his wife or the woman he's with that innately he knows that it's her. And it definitely, for me, there's some soul ties involved there. There's two souls recognizing, each other's counterparts with each other. And I honestly believe that that there is, such a thing, right? Where the souls connect. It's just like when you have a person that always gets with a cheater. It's because that particular type of soul recognizes either that weakness in the other person and all. I mean, it's all spiritual.
Well, soul tie is one thing, but soulmate is another.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, when you were saying the souls recognize one another, so
check this out. It's any given time 7-8 billion people on this planet. I don't think you can have a soul mate. I don't think God. So yeah, I don't think you can just have.
So how do you know when your mate is your soul?
Because there's a feeling. There's that why we talked about. I want to be with her more than because of the fact that I love her. I got all these emotions running through me. And I know that it's deeper than just love.
So is there such thing like Jerry Maguire with the "You Complete Me"? I mean, we know that was a line in a movie, but there was a very impactful line, and people took it and ran with it. And was like, "That's love. I want."
Well,
that.
I don't believe in the "You Complete Me" statement because I believe that
neither do
people should come to the relationship whole.
Sure, but I do think that what you're saying when it comes to a soulmate is like you're saying you want to be with this person. You like it's like that whole thing of you're the first person I run to when I want to tell good news or bad news or blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Do you see what I mean by as far as the completion of it, or even feeling?
So a soulmate should be like a best friend, a total confidant, a person that that you can't go without because they're so entwined in with you.
So you said a total confidant. What was it again?
Your best friend, someone that that you can't live without, that you can't that you have to be able to go to them for something because it's something pulling you guys together like that. So that's me.
I look at relationships like everybody has a role to play, right? And the man has a role, the woman has a role. And I think that if you're good at that role and you come together, it could certainly look as if you complete me. It could feel that way. And then if you're connecting intellectually, what the Bible calls it, equally yoked,
yes,
when if you connect intellectually and all those other things that you like you might like the way she touches you, or the way she serves your plate to you, or the woman might like the way that the man holds on to her when they're outside, or grabs her hand, or opens her door.
Kind of like a DeBar song.
Exactly. So, it could. I just think that once you make those connections, then it looks like a natural fit. So I hate to compare it to like buying a car, but when you buy a car and once you get used to it, it does everything you like, and it has the perfect air conditioning. And the
And when
radio.
you drive another car, it just doesn't feel the same. You're looking for the knobs.
Exactly.
You're looking for the same features, and it doesn't have.
Ladies, are you listening to this?
Well, I'm only speaking about
what you said before. I like what you said before about those things, about the way she serves his plate, the way she touches him. I think that a lot of things are transmitted and translated that are just not spoken. I think a lot of that is, and especially when it comes to soulmate, because it's totally spiritual, and spiritual is not necessarily words.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, for me, and I think for a lot of men, I've recognized it, but some men might not recognize it, but they feel it, is when a woman is in her femininity. You know what I mean? I was at a meeting a few weeks ago at this establishment. It was a private meeting, and there was a woman there who is a prominent lady, right? And food was served. And it was a kind of informal meeting, but there was food there. She came, this woman, she served everyone. Mm-hmm. And it was something so feminine about that. Right? Like,
gracious.
Because in life, if you believe in God, you serve humanity, you serve your community, your family, your people, And so I just found that her femininity came out, and she's someone that's a worker and does her thing, but for that moment, that femininity came out, and that it's all in the name of service. My son is here this weekend. He's here a few days a week, and I serve him his food. You know what I mean? I'm in service of him and raising him and talking to him and giving him advice. So there's something about that.
You're teaching him as well by doing that.
Yes.
Yes. And that is true. It's got to be something that is totally from the heart. And that's where you really find out when you say soulmate, man. Miss Monique, when you say, how will you know? I think if they're your soulmate, they're not just your soulmate, if you're not theirs. I think that it's a reciprocal thing, and you feel it. There's no lack in that as far as the cheerful giving, feeling fulfilled and understood without having to, request it or, hey, ask for it and be acknowledged by it. It's an understanding and it's an expectation that you both are fulfilling.
And real quick, as a concert promoter, backstage, we're servicing the artists. We have a list of the things that they want, and I'm not above serving them. I'm not above going to get something.
Yeah.
You need an iron. Let me go down the hall in the closet and get an iron and bring it in personally.
Okay, we got another one here. This is Denise out of Tampa, Florida. When should you stop trying in a relationship marriage? What are the signs that it is over and irreparable? Whoa.
When there is a sincere disdain for the other person.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually, with that actually is a loaded question, because what if your mate's a narcissist? I mean, you know, and you just can't, get through to him or her. Narcissists, they trick you into, loving you, and then they treat you bad, and then they love you more and everything.
Well, they love bomb you, and then they turn around and do it again. It's just it's a never ending. There's no end to that, man. That is the case. Denise.
But that's just one of the factors I was just saying.
Right. And that's a huge one. And believe me, a lot of people are not, I think people are more so, and I don't know if it's because we're counselors, but people are more so aware of it now, and they're starting to learn for themselves and start to diagnose, themselves, self-diagnose, if you will. And so there are a lot of behaviors go with that,
Yeah.
and people are not aware of it. And so it's such a bad word, bad word that they don't want to be. But if they're not educated on it, they don't know. And it is something that it's hereditary. I mean, it's something in the DNA. So it's something to look into, just to educate yourself. And if you're able to recognize certain traits, you know, look into it.
And what's the opposite of narcissist to a degree is low self-esteem. So
Yeah.
because if someone's mistreating you and then the person who's being mistreated is allowing it, how long are you going to allow that?
Well, that would be the codependency too. I mean, I think that's a dream relationship for the two right there, is the codependent person and the narcissist. It goes fine until the codependent person no longer wants to play along.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a problem. Yeah.
Agreed.
And not just that, to answer your, what's her name? Denise, to answer your question a little bit more fuller here, if you're in an abusive or an emotionally abusive relationship,
Verbally.
yeah, that's irreparable. You need to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes without saying.
Yeah. And if it's mind games and all that, or just, the gaslighting, the stonewalling, all of that stuff, I'm telling you right now, there's no way around it. And you are losing that fight. It's not one that you'll win, because that person needs help.
And we bring it up because of the fact that a lot of people, they're in these relationships, they're either too scared to leave, or this other person that has them. And I say this other person because it could be a female that's the abuser as well. But they're in this relationship that they feel that they can't get out because he or she has told them, they're nothing without them. They can't, so there's so much emotional trauma that has occurred that they're scared to move. They're petrified, and they don't know that they can.
Well, so this is the thing. Let me just tell you this right now. For every woman that has asked this question today, you should get your own counseling for yourself.
Right.
You should I don't care about your mate. Don't be like, well, if he don't go, you need to get it anyway, because of the fact that you have this on your heart. It's troubling you, and unpacking it and sorting it out with someone that can look at it very objectively, clinically, would be able to give you some really good advice and maybe see it from a different lens.
Yeah, I had a woman tell me some bad stories one time, and I just asked her, well, why do you stay? And she said, are you telling me to leave? And I said, no, I'm not telling you anything. I'm asking you that you need to recognize why you're still there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Dorothy click your heels 3 times Wizard of Oz. It was all the power was all on you. You had the power.
Yeah, exactly.
And so back to earlier, don't give up your power.
Exactly. Next one. Okay, we're almost done here. Oh my God, we're almost out of time. Okay, let's go really quick. Haley out of Springfield, Illinois. Please help me with this. My husband does not make me feel loved, needed, or appreciated. I believe he takes me for granted. The only time I see effort is when I shut down, and that lasts only for a short time. He seems either too proud or awkward when it comes to initiating the conversation after a blow up.
So Haley, you gotta sow what you want to see. And I don't know, of course we don't get a lot of backstory in these short letters here or emails, but you have to, sow what you want to see. If you want to feel loved and needed and appreciated, first of all, you have to communicate that to him. Closed mouths don't get fed. So you have to let him know, this is what I'm missing in this relationship. One of the things that we ask our counselees to ask each other is, what do you need from me emotionally? What do you need from me physically? And that's you telling them what it is. And don't just be arbitrary. Don't just say, well, I need more affection. What does that mean? What does that look like? Yeah. So be able to express what your needs and all, are, because again, we talk about this so much on all of our shows that there's so much childhood trauma that transcends into adulthood with us. And I say us because everybody has something, everyone. And the thing is that if you're never treated for it, or if you were never shown love, attention, and affection in your home growing up, you don't have that in you to
Yeah.
give.
Yeah.
So
Where would you pull from?
yeah, where would you pull from?
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So and I mean, we say this all the time. Your marriage or your relationship is your child's classroom, and you have to be that consummate teacher. You know, they have to continuously learn from you all the time.
And even if your child is dating, I mean, think about, let's think about it. A lot of people weren't told the birds and the bees like they said on TV, and how they had the perfect family that had all these things in place and discussions and all that. A lot of people don't, because they that was awkward. They didn't even know how to begin or attempt it because nobody did it with them. So, when it comes to even how to move forward as an adult, how you even have that conversation with your kids, like the Bible said, we said it before, get understanding, seek understanding. That's what you can.
I'm sorry, Lana B. We just cut you out of that one.
Oh, no, that's fine. No, we can keep it moving.
Okay, Lionel, what do you think of this? Here we go. Janet out of Portland, Oregon. Recently, I was approached by a man who shows interest in me. My marriage has been one of habit. It lacks everything that a marriage should have: loyalty, peace, and passion. I love my husband, but I do not feel his love for me, and I'm not sure if he even knows how to express love due to he did not receive it from his mother as a child. Is the old saying true? If a man does not love or have a good relationship with his mother, he will not know how to love his wife. Am I wasting my time being loving and showing an example of love for him to feel it and know what it looks like to return it?
Wow. So first of all,
that's a lot.
Some people feel as if they need to have something set up before they leave. This woman is known for a while that she's had a problem in her marriage. And now that someone else has shown her some interest, she's now almost ready to make that move. And that letter is justifying, and she just made her case as to why she should be able to leave without having to deal with that issue.
Interesting. I was saying the same thing. She started with that, so she led.
Led
with that. She led with that, so that it was almost like, I'm going to present my case of why.
Exactly.
One little liner, and then all this stuff that supports why. You're absolutely right.
She would have never presented her case if that did not show interest with her. Right. So
it didn't have anything to do with it. She could have left that out and still would have read the story that it did. It had
exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, except Teri, it had everything to do with it, because now she has somewhere to go.
Her motive. It's her motive.
Yeah. She lady, what's her name?
Jan. Out of Portland, Janet. We're keeping it real with you.
In Portland, you shouldn't do that. You should go to Nike and buy you some nice, comfortable shoes. And you should take a walk with your husband, and you should try to work it out. And if you can't work it out on your own, you should fly to Houston and meet with Teri and Tory and book a session.
Actually, they don't have to fly here. Cool. We do counseling virtually.
Yeah,
there you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
That was great. That was
the pandemic rate. No, but really,
for real. That's good.
She really laid out a case on why she's going to leave. And so something that a very smart guy, the sports guy, says all the time. He said companies, husbands and wives know about a year ahead of time before they're going to move on from you. Yep. So if a company's going to fire you, or a husband and wife are thinking about leaving you, usually a year in advance they've kind of made up their mind that they're going to do that.
They start to prepare.
It's not the day they say, hey, let's talk.
They start to prepare. If you start noticing changes in various things, that means that there's preparation going on. So
right.
Pay attention to that. Okay, last one. Sharita out of Richmond, California. I love my man. However, I'm beginning to think he is a narcissist. There we go. What is the best approach for dealing with the behavior when faced head on with it? Also, I heard that narcissist behavior cannot be cured. Is that true?
I think it can be cured, but only if that person is interested in getting treatment. And so that person have to first recognize that they are a narcissist and recognize that their behavior is hurting other people, and then have the wherewithal and the commitment to make a change. So,
and it's wanting to because of realizing and really not liking that part of themselves anyway, not necessarily claiming it, because again, we did say that it's genetic, but it does mean, committing to making a change. And I think that what it is it's deprogramming. Because if it's genetic, most likely they've been parented by one. And so if somebody teaches you to tie your shoes with the two bunny ears, that's all you know. And it's the same thing of how you make decisions going forth as a narcissist child raised by a narcissist parent. They teach you that, the only way to eat your eggs is scrambled. That's what you grow up thinking. And so there's got to be some form of a deprogramming. I believe that the will and the want to is the first start. And that's the most sincerest and organic, authentic place to start from. And I believe
Yeah. So you only know what you're taught, basically. And secondly, does he or she realize or know that they're a narcissist?
Exactly.
Because they're going to deny it. So,
yeah.
So definitely counseling will help, because counseling will bring this out into the forefront, for this person, that he or she will realize, okay, I'm a narcissist. Help me. How do I get help with this? But a lot of times it's so ingrained. You can see it from a young age, how people treat each other. Typically those bullies on the playground turn into, narcissists in training. And if you have an overbearing parent, typically it's the mother that's that's the overbearing one in a lot of relationships that we've encountered. Not necessarily, but that we've encountered.
Yeah.
And that child in turn becomes just like her.
Okay. Last question. Oh, this is for Mr. Tory. Here we go. What makes you and your wife, Miss Teri's marriage so strong? I have watched you two for about 7 months now, and you always seem to have true happiness and genuinely love what you do and each other. Are y'all really that way for real? What qualities does your wife have? And also, what qualities, Miss Teri, does your husband have that you would advise is why you stay, and that I can demonstrate in my marriage to talk with my husband?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Well, first of all, I would say your marriage doesn't have to look like our marriage or anyone else's marriage.
Be careful in coveting. Coveting is not a good thing.
Because,
you never know the backstory.
Yeah, not just not know the backstory, but you don't have the same issues as we have, or you don't have the same, even blessings that we have. So you can't compare from that perspective. What you can compare is the characteristics of a good or a strong marriage. And one of the things that I looked at in selecting Miss Teri, as well as the advice I give out, is to whoever you meet, you want to ensure that they have the fruits of the Spirit of God. And she definitely met all of those particular qualifications for me. So that keeps our love strong, our marriage strong. But we're just like everybody else, even though we're counselors. And we was arguing today.
Yeah, we were.
So, not arguing bad.
I'm kind of sitting over here. I'll scoot a little closer because it does feel a little weird. But no, we do, and we go at it. But we're also together all the time, and because we are counselors, we know, but we're still human beings. A doctor still gets a cold.
Yeah.
But we're still human beings. And so, and our feelings are our feelings. And one of the things I think that really drives it is we're passionate about all of it.
Yeah.
We're passionate about God. We're passionate about you guys and your problems, wanting to help. And we're passionate in our feelings of those things that we, are trying to convey and stuff. Yeah, and passionate about each other. And so, I think the times that we are challenged, I think it comes from wanting to be the best we can be, so that we're really walking the walk and talking the talk, so that we can be the real deal for you all. Then we want to start with us first as the litmus test for fixing our things. As well as my husband, from the day I met him, he approached me as a champion. And he came to me with a plan. And his plan, it was laid out, and he followed it. And he was a man of his word. Being impeccable with your word is everything.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'm very happy for you two. You guys are a beautiful couple, and I've known Teri for many years, and I've never seen her as happy as she is right now. And so, I think that your lived experience, you both have come together to be able to give great advice to people and to serve God and to be able to heal the wounded. And Black America is wounded.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know,
we're in trouble.
We could cure our economy, because if Black people would just recognize that we're wounded and we all need counseling, because the systematic oppression and everything else that we've gone through in this country has damaged us. We're talking about relationships today, but in business, in our existence here. And so then we need to push all these young people to become therapists and get their degrees and get their education. We could have 100,000 more therapists if all Black people would go to counseling, because we need it. It would be our own economy right there.
Let me let you in on a little secret, Lionel. Black people do counseling. 99% of our business is African American.
Tell a friend.
But you know, I'm in my 50s, and that was always a taboo thing. But and I'm not saying that they don't. We need to do it more. I mean, the percentage.
You hear it all the time. Black people do not do counseling.
And that's why we say, tell a friend. If you really care about somebody, tell a friend. It's not what it is when people do care. We need.
And I'm speaking in general. You know, is it? So, what percentage of Black people do you think would be willing to go to counseling or doing counseling right now?
I think it's growing.
You know, it's definitely growing, and I mean, it's growing in the sense that people are realizing that they need help and that they can't do it on their own. And to be frankly honest with you, Lionel, the generations of today are much more different from our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents' generation. A lot more differently, where they handled their stuff in the house, nothing got out of the house. You know, I ain't crazy, I ain't gonna see no counselor. Well, counseling don't have anything to do with being crazy. I mean, you need marital counseling because you're a man and she's a woman.
Right.
And there's two different trains of thoughts.
Right.
They're two different
processing. It's all different.
You know, you're dealing with emotions. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of stuff. And like we said earlier in the show, you do not have a book or a blueprint other than the Bible, which people really don't really get into a lot of. But we try to, you know, give them scripture and guidance from there as well.
If they never saw it modeled before, I mean, that's
Exactly.
a problem too.
Exactly.
So people are Marco Poloing their way through life, trying to have families and just, you know.
But
I said it earlier, but I find a lot of our people don't know their role, and a lot of roles have been crossed over. You know, I find I see a lot of masculine energy coming from a lot of our women, and I see a lot of feminine energy coming from a lot of our men. And you know
why? Because men are raised by women, and then the women, they don't have, a lot of times they don't have that male role model.
You guys, I'm so sorry. We have to cut it off. We're out of time. I just want to say this. Mr. Lionel B, we are so grateful for you taking the time out and spending time with us tonight.
Yes.
And you gotta come back. I think we need to do something like this with men and women in a panel. I think it would be phenomenal.
Most definitely.
It would be great. Well, thanks for having me. I hope I was able to impart whatever knowledge I might have onto the viewership. And, you know, we're going to pray for our people and move forward. And let's get counseling. Let's get healed. And because we have a challenge. We have a lot of challenges ahead as Black people in this country.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
You did contribute. We love it, and we'll have you back. Have a wonderful weekend, okay?
I will. You do
out there, have a wonderful weekend. We're going to give you Lionel's information. We'll put it on the screen. Lionel, is there anything you want to say right quick? Is like your handle?
I'm Lionel B, BAP at AOL.com.
There you go. Okay. Area Productions, Oakland, California, on the map. We love y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey, for helping me tonight. And we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Make love, not war. Good night.
Good night.